Well, we still don't know the truth about what really happened, but one thing is increasingly clear. Lord Van Zeeks definitely didn't do it. I'm sorry, what'd you say, Runo? Lord Van Zeeks. You mean Lord Van Zykes? No, it's Lord Van Zeeks. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am the Story-Driven Gamer, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are hopping back into the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. In the last episode, we got to chat with the two hoodlums from the Red-Headed League. We had them on the witness stand to see if they know anything, since obviously we connected Gregson to the Red-Headed League. That we found out that Gregson was investigating them. And we found out some stuff, some crazy stuff. So, we found out that they were trying to convince us that they hadn't met the guy before, anybody by the name of Gregson. But we found out that they did, quote-unquote, meet Gregson at the Red-Headed League, and that they actually, when they saw that he was an inspector, they had actually kidnapped him and locked him up overnight as a hostage, I guess. But we found out that that was not indeed Gregson at all. Gregson was probably already dead way before then. And that it was somebody impersonating Gregson. And that person, we found out, was Mr. Vigil. But before we found out it was Mr. Vigil, this is many layers deep, we found out that Mr. Vigil was actually in disguise as one of the other witnesses, you know, Mr. Fatlip. Gossip was his name. That was actually Vigil, Mr. Vigil the whole time. And that when he went to the Red-Headed League, he wasn't in disguise. He just went as himself. And this fat lip, weird appearance he has is actually his disguise. As weird as that is, we found out that Mr. Vigil and Gregson were actually working together, and that Mr. Vigil was doing this investigation in disguise as Gregson, all under Gregson's orders. So there's a lot going on, to say the least. But I'm enjoying the heck out of this case. It's been really good so far. We're done with the trial. I mean, the first trial anyway. So we're going to be going back into investigation mode. And yeah, I think that covers most of it. So let's hop back in. Back at Sholmes' place. 2nd of November, 3:38 p.m. Sholmes' suite. I still can't quite believe what just happened. Neither can I, Suzuto. That was wild, wasn't it? I know. Wait, was that me who said that? Okay, anyway. I know. I inquired with the bailiff after the court session was adjourned. And it seems Mr. Vigil was taken to hospital to recover. Right. I'm sure we're gonna get to talk to him face to face. This guy's very suspicious at the moment. Not just because he looks very suspicious there. 10 years ago now, Mr. Vigil attempted to commit suicide by jumping out of the window of the prison governor's office. But ever since then, he's completely blocked the memory of those events from his mind. Uh-huh. He survived. Nobody knew his secret. Not his family, not even the man himself. But I forced it out into the open. Mubby. Was it wrong of me to do that? Did I overstep the mark, I wonder? No, you gotta do what you gotta do. Whatever it takes to discover the truth. I mean, to a certain extent, I guess, but... Is that Iris? Runo! She's the only one who calls me that. Yeah. I feel like I haven't seen her in a while. Oh, Iris. You were miles away. Anyway, I brewed a fresh pot of soothing tea for you. Oh, thank you. Much appreciated. You and Susie have an exhausting day so far, haven't you? You could say that. Oh. Thank you, Iris. How thoughtful of you. Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is? When we came out of the courtroom back into the defendant's antechamber, he disappeared. He's trying to get back into the Red-Headed League again. He didn't learn his lesson, apparently. Oh no, I don't know. He just suddenly sprang to his feet and left. All he said was, I must leave. He must have discovered something. I wonder if he's pursuing the mystery of Inspector Gregson's death. Well, you know what Hurley's always saying, don't you? There are mysteries in this world that should perhaps never be solved. Does he believe that in this case, though? for the construction of a solution comes only at the expense of the destruction of something else. What does that mean? He's a man of many mysteries. He knows very well that when you open up someone else's old wound, you often open your own too. Boy just can't take his own advice and leave well alone. Solving mysteries isn't too important to him. Yeah, that's kind of his whole shtick. That's so true. But that's what I like about Hurley, after all. I suppose that's a lot of a great detective in some ways. So then, let's have tea, and then I'll give you a hand. Oh, do you have time, Iris? Yeah, I love this theme. We got to hear Kazuma's theme during the trial, and that was cool. His prosecutor theme. This is still one of my favorites. This is still one of my favorites, believe it or not. It's so catchy. It's an earworm. Yes, I finished this month's manuscript at last, with barely a day to spare with the deadline. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. A brand new story to read in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And I'm looking forward to not touching it, like all the others. You know, I always hide Hurley's violin in the days before I have a deadline. You do? Poor Mr. Sholmes. Probably for the best. I'm sure that's very wise, Iris. How sensible of you. Now then, my dear fellows, let's make a plan of action before we continue our investigation. I'm the new Hurley for the day. Okay, let's make a plan. Okay, everything is checked off, which I appreciate. I don't have to examine everything again. Just making sure, though. Is the mask still here? Okay, nothing new. Okay. Yeah, okay, let's go talk to Iris. Assuming you don't have anything to say about my armband. Iris, have you seen this? Your armband? The symbol of a different lawyer in Japan? Runo, you showed me that dozens of times, don't you remember? Oh, have I? It's kind of a blur. I don't think I do that, do I? The thing is, I just feel wrong if I don't have it on my arm, you know? It's like I'm naked. Well, if you ask me, I think you should try wearing something different every now and then. Oh, really? Like what? Try wearing a cravat. Well, I could make something for you if you like. How about a band that squeezes your arm when the person you're talking to tells a lie? I'll keep a space free on my left arm then. Okay. Oh, we have so much evidence. A lot of times, like, I go through the evidence to see if the person I'm talking to has anything to say. But, I mean, the game won't let me move on if there's something important I gotta show him, so I'm just gonna talk to you. It takes too much time to go through every piece of evidence just to see if you have some fluff dialogue. Let's go down the list. So, how'd it go in court this morning? It went great. Well, we still don't know the truth about what really happened, but one thing is increasingly clear. Lord Van Zeeks definitely didn't do it. I'm sorry, what'd you say, Runo? Lord Van Zeeks. You mean Lord Van Zykes? No, it's Lord Van Zeeks. Oh man, that was if you don't know what I'm talking about, that was at the end of the last one. We finally got somebody to actually speak his name, and apparently Lord Van Zeeks. And I've been saying Lord Van Zykes since like the last game, but you know what? I'm sticking to it. Lord Van Zykes definitely didn't do it. Oh, goody. Yes, that's right. You managed to uncover several new facts as well. Yeah, we covered a lot. Oh, really? And there was another development too. Kazuma. Yes, it's quite clear now that Kazuma-sama is not himself. Yeah, he interrupted the whole flow of the trial, and he got very aggressive to get to the bottom of the professor stuff. The way he's acting, it's almost as if he is possessed by an evil spirit. I know, I mean, at the end of the proceedings earlier, he was like a bloodhound the way he was chasing down Mr. Vigil's forgotten past. He's not normally so mercilessly persistent. There's a lot you don't know about me, Ryunosuke. What's going on in his head, I wonder? I really need to sit down with Kazuma and try to understand what he's going through. I'm still wondering if there's any weight to my theory that the Reaper is Kazuma, but I don't know. 'Cause I think the Reaper has existed for a while, they pointed out. I don't know if he was the Reaper the whole time or not, I don't know. Just a thought I have. The Reaper's innocence. If Gregson was really murdered the day before his body was discovered, then Lord Van Zykes has to be innocent, you see. What? The day before? Well, that should be easy enough to work out. Just by examining the corpse, surely. Yes, you would expect so. But curiously, no time of death was included in the autopsy report. Yes, that is right. That is curious. There are still unanswered questions about Lord Van Zykes, though, aren't there? Do you mean... I mean, what was he doing there on Fresno Street that day in the first place? That is a question. Well, according to the man's testimony, he said he was investigating Inspector Gregson, didn't he? And it turns out that little room was actually the inspector's secret office. Indeed. Oh, that sounds like it has all the makings of a wonderfully devilish plot. But then why was that notice board in there covered in all those particular papers? Papers about cases with a link to the Reaper. I'm starting to get a bad feeling about all this. Oh dear, that sounds more like something horribly devilish. We must start by looking into Inspector Gregson's moments of late. Gregson's movements. Let's talk about Mr. Vigil first. Vigil, you say? Isn't that the name of the lady who came to visit Hurley yesterday? Well, yes, that's right. She asked Mr. Sholmes if we would help her to find her missing husband, which we did find. Only Mr. Sholmes completely passed the buck to us. Actually, didn't you say that Mr. Vigil had been taken to the hospital? Do you know which one? Let me guess. What is it? St. Sinners? Ah, of course it is. The only hospital that exists in all of England. It's St. Sinners. I'm starting to wonder I'm starting to wonder if all the other hospitals in London have closed down. Oh man. Same wavelength. That's amazing, Bruno. You found the lady's husband already. Well, I suppose I have. By accident. Complete and utter accident. But you know what? It worked out. And 10 years ago, while Mr. Vigil was the chief warder at the prison, he was responsible for overseeing the professor's incarceration. No. Yes. So when the convict escaped, he was held responsible and immediately dismissed. Sometimes I really don't want to grow up. Don't. It's better to be a kid. Well, in some ways. There's more. For 10 years after that, while he was ostensibly working as a peddler, he also had another secret job. He was paid by Gregson to be his stand-in, to impersonate the inspector. Why? I have no idea. To impersonate Gregsy? But why? I have absolutely no idea. Not a clue. Ginny was right. I'm starting to think all adults are up to no good now. Hey, I am. Am I technically an adult? How old is Ryunosuke? I don't even know. Including you, Runo. You suck. I haven't paid anyone to impersonate me. Not yet, anyway. That means he has ties to the professor and to Inspector Gregson, though. So I do think we ought to pay a visit to Mr. Vigil, don't you? Back to St. Sinners, then. And away we go. But not yet. Let's talk about Gregson. I never imagined I might have to be investigating an inspector's movements. But here we are. Well, according to the entry in his diary, he was carrying out an incognito investigation of the Red-Headed League the day before his death. Oh, you mean he was doing the same as Hurley? Well, Mr. Sholmes was trying to apply, whereas the inspector was supposed to be investigating. Big difference. I do wish it had been the other way around. I'm completely losing faith in Mr. Sholmes. Anyway, as it turns out, the inspector who went to investigate the Red-Headed League that day was not Mr. Gregson. Wasn't actually Gregson at all. It was Mr. Vigil in possession of Gregson's identification. I like how it's giving us a little recap here. Even though I did record this, I did record that yesterday, but, you know, don't really need it, but... You know what it sounds like to me? Establishing an alibi. Oh my! Yes, you're absolutely right, Iris. Very true, but why would Gregson need an alibi? Was he up to no good? It would appear that the inspector had something to do that he wished to keep secret. No, that's a good observation, though. Well done, Iris. That seems very possible. I don't believe it. I always thought he was just a harmless lover of fish and chips. No, he is a dangerous lover of fish and chips. No, I'm kidding. I kind of hope we don't find out he's up to some shady business, but he kind of was at the end of last game. Perhaps they were seasoned with something a little more potent than salt and vinegar. Seasoned with death! I think perhaps we should try to move away from food analogies. Well, anyway, if Lord Van Zykes felt the need to investigate Gregson... Yes, I agree. We must try to find out what he knows. Indeed. And that's that. Well, I think it's clear what we need to do, isn't it? You coming with us? Let us investigate, my dear fellows! Aha! That's what Gregsy would say, anyway. Oh, Iris, you're even more enthusiastic than usual today. If anyone's anything to hide, my special Wilson shooting iron will soon set them straight. Please don't. That... water pistol? I can kill you if I want, Runo. It's stuff full of a piping hot extra blend of mine. Then I'm quite sure it'll be very effective. It's probably cooled down by now. I'd better be careful not to hide anything. Well, it feels a little strange that Mr. Sholmes is nowhere to be seen, but still. Let's go and see what we can find out. Yes! Yes! Times 2. Okay. Time for an adventure. Now, I'm gonna try, because I just like to do this for some reason. Oh, well actually, there's some places we can't go. That's fair enough. Let's go up here. 2nd of November, Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. I just like to go to the places that don't seem vital or, like, you know, important. I mean, they're probably all important, but you know what I mean. Places that we don't have to go to yet for any particular reason. Okay. We got Suzuto here with us. I'm guessing same as downstairs, everything has pretty much been examined. I like this music too. I like all the music in this game. It's really... I feel like across the whole Ace Attorney game, they have really good tracks. Okay, yeah, we're good. Let me just do 2 things. Present her my armband. That's not what I meant to do. You don't need to look at it. Okay. Yeah, I think this is the same... Yeah, it started the same way. Just wanted to check. She's yelling at me in high speed. Okay. Okay, you're just gonna ask me what to do, but I'll talk to you anyway. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? We just went over this. It's rather unusual to find ourselves here in the middle of our investigations. Well, you know. It just occurred to me that I might have forgotten something when we left this morning. Please don't worry. As long as you continue to investigate thoroughly, you won't go far wrong. I'll try. Oh, yes, of course. I must get back to work as soon as possible. She's like, why did we come up here? I don't know. We can go to the... Let's go to the Lord Chief Justice's office for whatever reason. He's probably not here. Oh, I take that back. 2nd of November, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Okay. No argument, Professor Asagi. You will continue with the trial exactly as I instructed. Is that clear? I wonder if he's being reprimanded because of... Perfectly. It's Kazuma-sama. I don't know if Strongheart was happy with what he did at the end of the trial. Defying Lord Strongheart by the sound of it. He never did know when to back down. You see him like whacking Kazuma with his cane. Bad boy. On your way now, Asagi. My lord. Bye, Kazuma. Oh, hey. Hey, buddy. Kazuma. Oh, not a word. He left without saying a word. Indeed. Hello there. Yes, what are you doing here? Oh, well, bleh. I was just hoping to ask you a few questions, if you wouldn't mind. I wanted Van Zykes' trial concluded today. Well, sucks to be you. But Prosecutor Oski's unwelcome inquiries are going to make it take longer than necessary. Unwelcome inquiries? As a result, I'm losing even more precious time. Time is precious, my precious. Currently 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 41 seconds. 42, 43, 44, 45... Okay, I get it. Then we must resolve everything before 3 hours have passed, Mr. Naruhodo. Let's do it! I don't think that's gonna happen. In a miraculous not even 5 minutes? You can do it, I have faith in you. Anyway, I can't let the man's obvious bad mood put me off. I need info. Information, to be more precise. Nothing to examine. Nothing at all. Strongheart, do you have anything to say about my armband that you haven't said already? You're the French lawyer's blazon. It clearly means a lot to you. Oh yes, it's a keepsake from my best friend as well as a symbol of what I'm trying to achieve. But that friend has returned to us now, Mr. Naruhodo. You can give it back. I'm doing no such thing. Well, until it's time to return this to him, I intend to keep wearing it. But that friend is going to face you in court, Mr. Naruhodo. A complicated situation by the sound of it. But I don't care. Okay. The Reaper and the closed trial. Let's talk about the trial. This country hasn't seen a closed trial for 10 years. Yeah, I don't know why. Like, what was so special about this one? So the last one was the professors? The trial of Genshin Asagi? That's a long time, too. Correct! Actually, we heard that originally. You were going to prosecute that trial yourself, Lord Strongheart. Oh, that's right. Van Zykes entreated me to relinquish the prosecution to him, that he might avenge his brother's death. And here we are, 10 years later. With the son of the man Van Zykes had condemned, now looking to avenge his father's death in the same way. The circle of life, baby. Did you see that what goes around comes around? They also say that karma's a bitch. However, it would seem that the new young prosecutor is harboring some ulterior motive as well. Yes, definitely. Kazuma is? I like my organization went smoothly in the exact manner that I prescribe. He went rogue on you. As with the giant clock in here, I won't tolerate a single cog being out of step with the others. Ah, so that's what all these gears are about in here. That's why they exist. It's for show. If the young man refuses to mesh with the other parts of my great machine, I will be forced to take steps. I will beat him silly. What do you mean? Never mind, I said too much. Not something with which you need to concern yourself. In any case, all your questions will be answered tomorrow. Okay. Let's talk about the Reaper, shall we? Does Prosecutor Oski believe that Lord Van Zykes is the Reaper? I wouldn't know. It was 10 years ago, in that fateful closed trial, that Lord Van Zykes made a name for himself among the judiciary. For the next trial he fought, he lost. So, if Kazuma's not the Reaper, maybe he's just trying to get to the Reaper. Like, maybe he's doing his own thing to weed out the Reaper. I don't know. It meant the ringleader of a criminal organization was acquitted, thanks to all the jurors being under duress. But that's awful. Indeed. The man's freedom was short-lived. He lasted just 3 days. Ooh. Yes, let me see. He died in a rock slide at his place of work, I believe. Dang. Correct. That was the inauguration of the Reaper of the Bailey. And people believe Lord Van Zykes was responsible? Poor guy. He was brought to trial himself. But it was so shown to have been an accident. So he must have had a solid alibi then. Nevertheless, the mysterious deaths continued. In total, 16 persons perished, in unusual circumstances, ostensibly at the hand of the Reaper. That's a long run of coincidences? Yeah, some kind of vigilante of justice. Well, the Reaper's true identity may well be revealed by this trial. I hope so. Or the final one. And the impact that revelation would have on the British public cannot be understated. Is that why it's a closed trial? Precisely. Okay, at least we're getting our answer. Well, I'm done with you. Now I shall have to ask you to excuse me. As of this moment, I've been delayed from attending my next meeting by precisely 3 hours. Oh my, that is a long time. You better go. Now. And I hold you entirely responsible. It's all your fault. Even though we miraculously managed to fit everything into not even 5 minutes. I wonder if you might agree to us, talking with Professor Asagi? No. Bye. Discussions between the defendants and the prosecution outside the courtroom are generally frowned upon. However, I'm a cool guy. I will make an exception in this case. Now go. You can find him in his office. Oh. Thank you. Okay, that was easy. Let's go to see him at once. Mr. Naruhodo? He's being strangely cooperative. Kazuma's my bestie. My best friend in the world, but I'm really not at all sure I know how to talk to him at the moment. He's a sad boy. So should I go straight there, or... We have so many places we can go to. That's the hospital bed. I guess these are all places we will want to go eventually anyway. Okay, yeah, let's just go. So, do they mean the prosecutor's office? Which is technically Van Zykes' office, but I guess it's his office now that Van Zykes is not here. Let us see. Look at that sexy picture of Van Zooks. 2nd of November, prosecutor's office. So, this is the office of Prosecutor Asagi now, is it? It's so beautiful. Kazuma-sama is doing so well for himself I could cry. Even though he's always forced to kneel on the floor Japanese style in that dark corner, it's his habit to sit Seiza style whenever he's working. Okay. I understand. And that's Van Zykes' desk. Well, it looks like our journey here was wasted. The prosecutor appears to be out. Perhaps we should discuss things with another prosecutor we know first. Okay, so we gotta talk to Van Zykes, I guess. Okay. Oh yeah, we haven't been in this room in a while, I think. Like, I don't remember if we even came here during the last investigation. There's probably new stuff now, so let's... Possibly. Let's see, what have we here? Mr. Naruhodo? It would be very underhand to glean information from Kazuma-sama's office while he's absent. Huh? We should wait until he's here before we start nosing around, don't you think? Oh, of course, yes. I mean, it's probably more beneficial to do it now, but she doesn't take any nonsense when it comes to Kazuma, does she? Okay, so it won't let us examine anything, right? Yeah. Okay, Suzuto, you win. You win this time. So, in that case... Okay, that's the, okay, so prison, that's where we'll talk to Van Zykes. We can talk to Mr. Vigil here. Let me try going to the back to the crime scene. You can't go here. Okay. Yeah, let's try going to the... That's not where I meant to go! I clicked on the wrong thing. Okay, it doesn't matter. 2nd of November, St. Sinners Hospital, Ward 3. Oh. Okay. He is not here. At the moment, anyway, here are crutches. Oh, look, a pair of crutches. Before we came to Britain, I hadn't realized they were used here as well. Of course they are, you dingus. I imagine they were imported into Japan from Great Britain in the first place. Oh, so no one in all of Japan broke a leg before their arrival? Anyway, the sight of these things doesn't bring back good memories for me. Oh dear, did you injure yourself once and need to use some? When I was little, I thought they looked fun, so I borrowed a pair to play with. But then I slipped and sprained my ankle. I see, that is unfortunate. They contain powerful magic, those wooden staffs. The power to heal and the power to harm. I think a certain cheeky little boy managed to cause the harm all by himself. Cheeky. Very cheeky. Okay, what is this? Ah, patient treatment notes. What do these say, I wonder? Endlessly obliging. I suppose that's referring to the patient in this bed. I would think so, and until Mr. Vigil is a little more stable, it's probably just as well that he has a kindly person in the neighboring bed. The endlessly part is a little worrying, though, isn't it? I mean, but if Mr. Vigil suddenly declared that he'd like to take a trip out of the window, should board them up. Would this endlessly obliging patient simply open it for him and say, Be my guest! Let's check with the doctor later. Okay. Is there poison up here? There are lots of bottles in that cabinet there, aren't there? Do you think it's safe to keep them there? Hee hee. If you were a patient here, I feel sure you'd take some medicine by mistake when you were half asleep. Because you are a doofus. That is a worry, but at least the cabinet has a lock, even if it's only a flimsy-looking one. Huh. Oh, I've no doubt you'd manage to unlock that somehow while you were half asleep as well. There are limits even to what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Miss Suzuto. But thank you for the vote of confidence. Okay, what about this one? There are all sorts of medicines in this cabinet, look. I'm not sure if it's safe leaving them in reach of everyone like this. Yes, you're right. I can imagine if you were peckish, you might try some of the pills. No. Well, at least there seems to be a little lock to secure the cabinet doors. I don't imagine that would stop you if you were hungry. I worry that you'd break the lock. This conversation sounds very familiar. Hunger doesn't turn me into a criminal, you know, Miss Suzuto. Okay. So this is supposed to be Mr. Vigil's bed here. These must be the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Tendency to jump from windows. Remember to place cushion at base of wall outside. It's like you see a bunch of like firefighters like holding one of those, you know, those trampoline things or whatever. Aren't we a story up from the ground here? Oh dear. Poor Mr. Vigil. I can't have a feeling that there's a better solution to the problem than a cushion, though. Finding something you'd lost isn't always a happy experience, it turns out. Pursuing the truth can be a very dark business sometimes, can it? Yes, I'm afraid it can. Alrighty. There's the window, I can't examine it. Something on the wall here. This notice caught my eye before, actually. I suppose it's some sort of slogan for the ward? A cheerful welcome message, perhaps? Let's see. Pay with good cheer, leave with good cheer. Well, look at that. You were spot on, Miss Suzuto. It is full of cheer. I wonder how many discharged patients pay their medical bills with good cheer, though. Yeah. Sounds like BS to me. Once I had to have a very painful injection when I fell ill with a cold. I felt awful already, so why did I have to suffer the sting of the injection as well as the bill? I yelled at the doctor. Doesn't work that way, I'm afraid. Oh dear, what terrible treatment. There's something? No. Okay, I guess he's not here yet either. So we probably have to go to the prison, but now let's go to this room, because this is where I meant to go. 2nd of November, room on Fresno Street. Okay, so we might have some new... Now that we know more about a lot of this stuff, yeah, some of this stuff has new dialogue. Like the board. There are cases of details stretching back over 10 years on this notice board. Yes, a history of Lord Van Zykes' defeats in court. I don't think that's an appropriate description, but yes. Although, when you consider everything on the board, it's certainly true. Exactly. That all these people had a background of dubious dealings. And then, in the end, of course, the board itself concealed the inspector's own death. Oh my, it really doesn't bear thinking about. Okay, let's look at the picture of Mrs. Vigil. The photograph of Mrs. Vigil. Realizing the identity of this lady was a very great clue to exposing Mr. Gossip's true identity. He obviously loves his wife very dearly. Which is why he felt he couldn't tell her the truth. The transformation was incredible, wasn't it? Just from that big twisted lip. That was the big thing, but I mean, he also had like... He had a hat on. He had like a fake nose. Some weird, like, dirt on his cheeks. He went hard on that disguise. Yes, he went to extraordinary efforts to play the part of Hugh Boone convincingly. Although, it didn't really seem like it was much of an effort to me. Now you say it, I have to agree. It's almost as if that was Mr. Vigil's true character. People really are very hard to fathom at times. Well, he's been Hugh Boone for so long, right? That probably is second nature to him. Okay. Yes, let's examine the candle. Using a candle as a timer device. Oh, that's right. Very ingenious, I must say. Yes, the culprit arranged it so that the firecracker would be set off at 5 o'clock and then left. So that a loud bang was heard at precisely the moment Lord Van Sykes arrived, yes. If only he hadn't picked up that gun from the floor. They always do that. Something you probably told yourself once upon a time, I imagine. Yes. Oh, that's right. In the first case that happened, right? Yes, I've learned that lesson by bitter experience. I would have turned and run a mile for sure. Which may not have done you any favors either. Okay, let's take a look. If it turns out that Gregson didn't actually die in here at all, where on earth could he have been killed? Well, one way or another, we must find out. For the inspector's sake. Yes. You know, you look awfully pale again today, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry, when I start thinking it all through, I conjure up some horrible images in my mind. Your imagination is the culprit here, then. Most certainly, guilty! The judge just comes crashing through the window. Guilty! Okay. Yep, all this stuff can be examined. Let's start with the hair. It catches your eye as soon as you enter the room, doesn't it? It's such a bright color. It certainly makes an impression. Yes. They can't possibly commit any crimes, can they? I mean, redheads stand out like a sore thumb. I'm afraid with our jet black Japanese hair, we stand out almost as much here in London. I suppose that's true. No committing crimes for us today. We could if we wanted to, though. You mustn't think of committing any crime, Mr. Naruhodo. I wasn't. Maybe. Maybe just a little. Here's the key. The key to the, clock. I never have imagined that this little figurine would turn out to be a watch-winding key. I suppose it's a policeman because the pocket watch was a gift from Scotland Yard. Kinda cute. It seems there was much more to Inspector Gregson than we ever realized. He was clearly a brilliant man. It's the fish and chips that threw us off. I feel as though it ruined his image. Nonsense. I love fish and chips. I really don't think we should blame one of Britain's staple cuisines. But think about it. Imagine if it was Mr. Sholmes. How would you feel if instead of that old briar pipe that's always in his hand, Mr. Sholmes had a bag of chips? Rather disappointed, if I'm honest. But I would understand. Exactly. Hey, don't be dissing the man beyond the grave. Can you blame him? Okay, the gun. There we go. This revolver, just who does it belong to? Well, we know it's of the type issued to members of the police force and judiciary. But Gregson's own gun was found on his person. And of course, Lord Van Sykes has admitted to losing the firearm with which he was issued. Such absent-mindedness, not dissimilar to you, Mr. Naruhodo. Scatterbrain. He's like, I'm not gonna justify that with a response. I'm starting to think the cold, hard prosecutor and I could become friends after all. That's the spirit. Then I wish you every success. I think that's everything in here. Okay, so we got to examine the evidence further. Okay, now we can go to the prison to, I guess, talk to Van Zykes. Then after talking to him, we can probably head to the prosecutor's office and talk to Kazuma. Oh goodness, it's you again. 2nd of November, local prison, cell 1. Okay, Iris is with us. I was wondering, I'm like, she came with us, right? But I don't think she said anything. Lord Van Zykes is reading, look. He doesn't seem like he wants visitors, does he? But he must have noticed that we're here, surely. You're like 2 feet away from me, of course I can hear you. Hello. What do you Nipponese want? That's no way to greet the lawyer who's trying his hardest to prove your innocence, is it? I don't care. Perhaps not. Might be. I apologize. So, what can I do for you, Mr. Naruhodo? He says my name and everything. Lord Van Zykes, speaking earnestly. Oh, the fog will lift over London for the first time in months tomorrow. This does feel very, very strange. We are not besties or anything. I must say I was impressed. Oh, well, thank you. Not by you, by your fellow Nipponese. Your prosecutor friend. Oh, him. Oh, I see, yes. You're sardonic, don't you think? For a man such as me, so loathing of the Nipponese, to be entirely at the mercy of the two of you. I suppose it's retribution for having played the part of the Reaper all these years. Played the part? Did you kind of give in and even, like, people were calling him the Reaper, so did you kind of just give in and, like, accept it? Now, let's take a look at my armband. Okay, I think you... Yeah, okay. We already had this conversation. I like that, allows you to skip through texts that you've read already, so you know what's been read and what hasn't. Okay, let's just talk to him. Let's talk about Prosecutor Asagi. Kazuma, isn't it? Kazuma Asagi. You say he's a friend of yours. My best friend. My bestie for resties. He's the whole reason I got to come to Britain. It was all on his merits. I have nothing but respect for him. Yes, I understand that only the very best students are selected for such opportunities. And I had a fine demonstration of how sharp he is in the proceedings earlier today. He missed nothing. In fact, his flawless performance very much reminded me of his father. Ooh, Genshin Asagi, the professor. It's true that the aristocracy at the time was the root of numerous grave societal problems. They were abusing their power, playing with the common man as pawns in politics, in economics and war. In many ways, Asagi was carving out a canker from society that we British couldn't deal with ourselves. Ah, I see. Yeah, it's crazy to think that he's like a foreigner. But he's made such an impact. That's precisely why it makes no sense. Clint Van Zykes was a noble and upstanding man. He wasn't corrupt. Why did that damn Nipponese have to go and take my brother's life? I wonder if we'll maybe find out some damning stuff about his brother. Maybe he was not so upstanding. In spite of having once saved mine. He saved your life? How did that happen? Give me the deets. It was 10 years ago, on a foggy night. What was to be the professor's final strike had sent a wave of panic through the capital. So Clint Van Zykes had already been killed at this point then. Genshin and I were walking down some back streets at a late hour. Of course, at that point, I had no idea the true nature of the man at my side. Oh wow, so the murder was already done, but you don't know it yet, or you don't know he's involved. All of a sudden. Don't make a peep, you're coming with us! Dun dun dun! That's Genshin and Kazuma. We were surrounded. All of our assailants were armed with pistols, their faces obscured by scarves. Clint was not only from noble heritage, he was a brilliant prosecutor as well. The scum of London halted at the sight of him, and they had no sympathy for his younger brother either. I've been targeted several times before already. Yeah, it's Van Zykes, all right. We got him. I could hear them murmuring amongst themselves. I knew they were after me, but just when I thought my time had come. If I let them kill you, Clint would never forgive me. It was Osuke's voice, just a whisper in my ear. Bang! After that, I don't remember exactly what happened. The next thing I knew, there was silence all around. Genshin lay on the cobbled street. Blood was seeping from his left hand. He'd shielded me. Interesting. 2 days later, they arrested him. On suspicion of being London's most notorious mass murderer ever. The Professor. I do wonder if there's a chance we'll find out he was falsely accused this whole time. It seems like something that could happen. They're kind of prepping him up as like, he seems like a good guy. I mean, doesn't mean that he couldn't secretly have been a serial killer, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a false accusation. How awful for you. All at once, I lost the brother I revered and the foreign friend I held in such high regard. And that's where your hatred for the Japanese people has started. I'm so sorry, Lord Van Zykes. Poor guy. Now to change gears. Well, not really, we're still talking about the Reaper. You once told me that you gladly allowed people to believe you were the Reaper. Because it helped reduce the amount of serious crime that took place in London. Ah, that's right. He did say that. If keeping quiet and playing the part benefits the cause, a cause I myself am committed to pursuing, then why would I choose to say anything? Because it's the right thing to do? But the henchman of a criminal killed by the Reaper attacked you only the other day. And that was just the most recent of many attempts on your life, wasn't it? Someone is clearly profiting from your silence about all this. Someone is using you. Believe me, ever since the Reaper first appeared, I've been doing my utmost to expose him. Or rather, expose the organization. Organization? Ah! It's a whole organization! The professor and the students. It's inconceivable that all those accidents were orchestrated by one man. No, the Reaper always appears to have very accurate information about the accused in each case. Which can only mean that somebody at Scotland Yard is involved. Someone at... You can't mean... It's taken me many years, but I finally identified the central figure in this Reaper organization. Strongheart? Ah, that makes a lot more sense. I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised if Strongheart is involved. I don't know. I've had my suspicions of him. For no particular reason other than he's just a very powerful, charismatic figure. Tobias Gregson. No! No! Gregson? The Reaper? Dun dun dun. Wow, okay. Alright. I said during, I think, the last investigation, I had said that he could be the Reaper, you know, if this was his room and his, you know, if the room he died in was, like, his room. But dang. So it's an organization, he was just, like, the head of it? Or helping out with it? So the reason you investigating Inspector Gregson is because... That's right, he wouldn't tell us why at first. You intend to expose him as the Reaper? Probably needed more evidence. As I said, the Reaper, the Bailey, is no single person. It's a highly secret organization with close ties to Scotland Yard. But there's no doubt that Gregson was a key member of that organization. It's the Red-Headed League. That's the organization. I don't believe it. Are you saying that Gregsy, that he was behind all those awful criminals meeting there? Gregson didn't do the dirty work himself. Oh. Did he plan it out? He was the tactician. His job was to covertly investigate the marks and plot their assassinations. In order to do that without arousing suspicion, he regularly needed a firm alibi. Ah. That's where, yep, which is where Mr. Vigil came in, posing as the inspector. Vigil knows nothing of the Reaper, but the room he rents on Fresno Street was almost certainly the headquarters of the operation. Gregson would have met the assassin there for briefings. So we don't actually know who carried out the killings then. Actually, I do have a name. Oh my gosh, one revelation after another. What? Well, if you can name the man, you have the true identity of the Reaper already then. Or, if I can name the woman. Oh? Let me think. Gina? Oh my gosh, no. I don't know who that is. Okay. Asa Shin. Okay. She's a young woman by the name of Asa Shin. Wait. What? Shin? Okay, I might be blanking out. Should I know who that is? Ah, okay. Yeah, that's right. Her real name. Miss Asa Shin. The true name of a terrifying killer I know only too well. But she's dead now. So who's talking right now? She came to... It's probably Van Zyke. She came to Japan posing as a visiting student and murdered Dr. John H. Wilson. Then, just when it seemed that diplomatic protection would help her escape Japan and conviction, she was dead. The mysterious woman was herself murdered in a small summer beach hut. And that woman was actually the Reaper that... Okay, I think this is Reno Satan. Was actually the Reaper the Bailey? That is insane. Mr. Naruhodo, this perhaps isn't the place to discuss. No, of course not. We can't mention it here. The fact that she killed Dr. John H. Wilson. What was that, Runo? Nothing. Because Iris doesn't know, and it's very likely that the man was her father. She's got to find out by the end of this game, right? Asa Shin. I should let father know at once. Yes, I agree. Wow, okay. That's the end of my miserable tale. I never thought I'd recount it to anyone. We're besties. Well, thank you for confiding in me. The Professor, the Reaper, and Inspector Gregson. They're all vile pieces of crap. I wonder just how intimately related they all are. I still can't quite believe that Gregson was essentially the Reaper. Crazy times, huh? Giving assassination orders to Jesli Barrett? Mr. Naruhodo, let's go and inform my father. I'm sure our government will want to hear about this new information. Oh, that means I'll get to meet your daddy, Susie! Hooray! Hip hip hooray! Yes, alright. Let's head back to the Great Waterloo Hotel then. Okay. That's it. Goodbye, Van Zyke. It's been a pleasure. Go away. Okay. Good talk. There we go. Now we can go to Great Waterloo Hotel. I was gonna talk to see if Cosmo's back, but I'll just follow the order of events for now. 2nd of November, Great Waterloo Hotel, foyer. Tom Foyer. I thought it yesterday, and I think it again today. This place is so princely. It's a wild guess, but I have a feeling you'll think the same tomorrow, too. And the next day, and the day after that. My tea has a finer fragrance than whatever they're serving in the tea room here, though. Wouldn't you say? Sure. Ah, look who we have here. This is an unexpected pleasure. Hey, Mikitoba. Ah, Father! Father dearest. Oh, is that your daddy, Susie? How lovely. What a charming young lady. And you are? Oh, really? So you're the author of the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, are you? You betcha. Oh, that's a cute little curtsy. That's me, Iris Wilson, at your service, sir. Susie's been such a wonderful friend to me over the last year, you know. Well, Miss Wilson, I must say I read your work regularly and with much interest. I watched your career with great interest. I was actually lived, she doesn't have an accent. I was actually lived with Mr. Sholmes, you know, father. At least I don't give her an accent. I think she actually does have an accent in the, whoever actually voices her. Is that so? Well, perhaps that goes some way to explaining that bright look in your eyes. That twinkling look in your eyes. Aw. Hee hee. Oh, shucks. You wouldn't be smiling so airily if you knew just how bright she is, believe me. Now then, young Naruhodo, it was a pleasure seeing you in action earlier. As an invitee of the symposium, I was allowed to observe from the gallery, after I twisted some arms. And I must say, it was truly exemplary performance. Why, thank you. Oh well, thank you very much. Although I'm fairly sure you omitted by Kazuma in the end there. No, please don't misunderstand. It was you who impressed me, not that what's-his-face. Really? You're not yanking my chain? You didn't miss a step against Asagi, and we all know how capable he is. Really, to have matured into such a fine defense lawyer in less than a year is quite extraordinary. It's very kind of you to say so. I'm tearing up. And really nice to hear. He's a good guy. What I saw on court today confirmed what I've been hoping for. The favor I mentioned yesterday, Naruhodo? I trust you haven't forgotten. Oh, of course not. Oh no, you did mention something, didn't you? But first, we have something to report, Father. Of course. Shall we take tea while we discuss matters further? I love tea. I wonder where Judge Jigoku has got to. Good question. Probably nothing to examine, right? That's always my first order of business. Okay. Well then. Have I shown you my armband before, sir? Look at this, Professor Mikitova, isn't it cool? Ah, Kazuma's armband. He was wearing that when he left for Great Britain. How curious. It doesn't strike me at all as odd as you see it wearing it. Wait. At all as odd to see you wearing it. It rather suits you. Oh. Are you intending to return it to him? No, it's mine. Well, yes, I mean, it has his name on it. Now that we find out he's alive, it doesn't make sense for me to keep it. Well, if you ask me, I think Cosmo would be delighted to see you wearing it. We can just scratch his name out and put Ryunosuke on it. Well, I'd feel honored if that were true. Okie dokie. Where is Judge Jigoku? I haven't seen Judge Jigoku for a while, have you? Guilty! Ha 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 ha! No, really. But that guilty is still ringing in my ears. No, now you mention it, I haven't seen him since this morning either. I suppose since the symposium opening was postponed, he'd have gone to explore at the Great Exhibition. That reminds me of something you mentioned yesterday. About Judge Jigoku having once been in the dock himself. Ah, that's right. Oh yes, it was all tied up with that accursed trial. The closed trial of Kazuma's father. Seishiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took to the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and, actually managed to break the witness stand. Oh my! What a badass! He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged. Oh. Oh dear. Although it's worryingly easy to imagine him doing that. Well, it was all right in the end. He was acquitted and we returned home to Japan together. Thank goodness. Oh yes, talking of Seishiro, I have a copy of the photograph we all took together here yesterday. Please. Yay, look at us. Oh, what a lovely picture. It certainly seems to shout, "We've arrived in Britain." look how Ryunosuke just sitting there, all stern and like sweating. Suzuto and Mikitova look happy though. Okay, it's evidence apparently. Okay, So who in this picture is going to come up as an important figure for the case? A photograph taken in the foyer of the Great Waterloo Hotel on the morning of Professor Mikotova and Judge Jigoku's arrival in London for the symposium. None of us had any idea what was coming when we took that, did we? Yeah, really. No, that's so true. Yeah, we didn't, not only did we not know about Gregson's death, we didn't even get the Mr. Vigil case yet. I guess we can take a look at that. Anything stand out? I doubt I could even find anything that stands out because I don't know how this picture would tie into anything at all. Okay, anyway. Guess let's talk about the Reaper. Father, do you know about the so-called Reaper of the Bailey? I've heard rumors. Some members of the judiciary explained it all to me yesterday. Of course, when I was a visiting student here in London, the Reaper was yet to emerge. Right. He didn't appear until after that case when the visiting students had already returned home. Lord Van Zykes, who was in the dock today? That was Varric, the younger brother of Clint Van Zykes, I believe. That he was. That's right, and he's known throughout London as the Reaper, as you've heard. But the truth is, it wasn't him behind all those mysterious deaths. It was somebody else. You gotta believe me. I see. So what you're saying is, there's been a professional killer at work here? Exactly. Someone by the name of Asa Shin, in fact. I beg your pardon. Did you say Asa Shin? I did. You mean that Jesli Brett woman who was responsible for killing my great friend? That one? Oh no! A friend of yours was killed? Don't worry about it. Professor Mikotova, I think perhaps we shouldn't discuss this right now. Because the friend the professor is talking about is Dr. John H. Wilson. Let's take this in private. And that's not something we want Iris to find out about. Not like this, anyway. And yet we're gonna go ahead and talk about it anyway. Dr. Wilson's death. Ah, I've just remembered something. Biscuits. This hotel has the most delicious looking biscuits. I see what she's doing. She's gonna lure Iris away. That was rather out of the blue. She's doing this deliberately. I think I'll go and see if I can purchase some. I wonder, would you like to come too, Iris? What are you up to, Susie? Nothing? Oh yes, you just try to leave me behind. I'll race ya. So that young girl is called Iris Wilson, is she? Ah, you're figuring it out. Yes, that's right. And she's the author of all those adventure stories starring the great Detective Sholmes. But the name of the credited author isn't Iris, is it? It's Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, I know. That's the name of her father, you see. Her father? And she knows nothing, because for whatever reason we're hiding it from her. Dr. John H. Wilson. I was deeply indebted to the man for all the kindness he showed me during my time in London. That's why I was keen to reciprocate and invite him to our Imperial Yume University 4 years ago. But he was murdered last year. By Jesli Brett! Why? Why would the hand of the Reaper stretch all the way to Japan? That's a good point, because we pointed out how people overseas were safe, right? That's why Natsumi is still okay, and as far as we know, what's his face? Oh, wait a minute. Could it be that they're only safe because she's dead, right? Ah, that would make sense, I guess. Iris knows nothing about that case, but it seems very likely that the victim, Dr. Wilson, was her father. Well, I can't say that we ever spoke about his family, so I don't know if he had a daughter or not. But I think I can say with some certainty that he was never the great detective's partner. So, it could have been another Dr. Wilson, you think? Very interesting. That's just been the assumption. Well, John and Wilson are both common names, after all. Still, it's probably best not to mention this to the young lady until we can be sure. That's what we thought, yes. We're back with cinnamon biscuits! Ooh, did you get me any? Oh, they smell delicious, Iris. I think cinnamon will go very well with the tea they serve here. Don't you, Susie? Yes, I'm sure you're right, Iris. So what were you two talking about? Nothing. Nothing at all. Don't worry about it. Okay, now the favor. So, you mentioned a favor that you'd like to ask me? Well, this fateful trial that you're fighting, one way or another, it will be over before long. And when it is, I'd like you to accompany me back to Japan. What? Why? You want me to do... What? Father, what's the meaning of this? Now, Suzuto, you should understand. You've seen how our courts work firsthand. Japan's judicial system is in its infancy, especially when it comes to defense. Oh, you mean... The Supreme Court of Judicature is in desperate need of a good defense lawyer. That's me. As soon as possible. Really, quite urgently, in fact. But... I've not even been in London a year yet. I've read all of Suzuto's reports. I'm well aware of your extraordinary talents. And having seen you in action with my own eyes earlier today, there's no question. Oh, were you just observing me? You, Naruhodo, are precisely the man our country needs. Say, what? So, you believe in then, Runo? I didn't agree to that. Yet. But then, what am I supposed to do, Father? I don't care. You can stay here if you want. You came here to serve as Asuka's judicial assistant. Oh yes, she's supposed to be Kazuma's assistant. She's mine! I will not give her up! Our government is still in the process of deciding how best to deal with her situation, though. You've always chosen your own path, Suzuto, and I trust your judgment. In this matter also. Father! She has a lot to think about. Please, the pair of you, don't look so downcast. It's merely a suggestion, you understand? I hope if I'm honest, but I won't force you. All I ask is that you consider it, and come to a decision by the time this trial concludes. I have enough on my plate, sir. Yes, alright. You won't leave, will you, Runo? I don't want to. Thought hadn't even crossed my mind. Up until now, I've just been trying to do what I believe to be Kazuma's will. But it turns out that he's still alive, so that's true, there's no reason for you to really stay. Where does that leave me? Okay, and that should be everything here. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I need to telegram government ministers and Japanese police with this information about Asa Shin. Of course, Father. Thank you. I look forward to next month's installment, Miss Wilson. Oh, good. And please do come to Baker Street sometime, won't you? We'd love to entertain you. I would be delighted. The best of luck for tomorrow, Naruhodo. And give my suggestion your full consideration, won't you? Yes, I will. Going back home. You know, Kazuma-sama has always meant a great deal to my father. I'm sure he'd love the chance to meet with him and talk to him about all of this. Yes, no doubt. Asa Shin. Of course, it's so obvious. How could I have neglected to consider the possibility before now? Aha! Mr. Sholmes. Hurley, where have you been? None of your business. Why, I joined you all out for tea, of course. What an extraordinary question. I didn't notice you at all, actually. No matter, no matter. Anyway, to more pressing concerns. Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes? I must dispatch a telegram to your country at once. It is a matter of much urgency. Why are you telling me? Japan, you mean? That is your country, isn't it? Tell me, to whom can I entrust the task? Quickly now, who? Well... My father just now left to send a telegram to the Imperial Police Bureau of Japan himself. What timing? I see. Well, he looked reliable enough for a bearded fellow. Yes, we bearded fellows are very trustworthy. I don't think my father's sports could be considered a beard, Mr. Sholmes. Yeah, I guess it was a mustache, wasn't it? There's not a moment to lose. Can't I ask your trusty unshaven father to see this ascent? Are you just leaving it with us? Okay. I will, but what is it? No questions this time, if you please, Miss Susato. All we can do is pray that for once, my deduction is awry. Doesn't that imply deductions are normally correct, Mr. Sholmes? Which isn't exactly... Now then! I did not hear what you said. You may be surprised to learn that I am a very busy man. I certainly have no time to hide beneath settees and eavesdrop on other people's conversations. So that's what joining us for tea meant. I leave the sending of this in your hands, then. My dear fellows. Lady fellows. Wait a minute, Mr. Sholmes. He just sort of ran off, didn't he? At quite a pace. And left the unpaid bill for his tea behind, too. I must catch up with father at the telegraph office. At once. I know when to call a cab. Straight away. Whoa, that was fast. And there was me thinking everyone would be clamoring to pay Mr. Sholmes' bill. Ha, silly me. Okay? And I guess with that, I might end the episode here. So, we're just learning more and more and more. We got to talk to Van Zykes, or Van Zeeks as he's apparently called, and learn about him and Genshin's relationship. We learned that bombshell about the Reaper being a group, or the Reaper the Bailey being a group, Genshin being the tactician, and then the one who's carrying it out was Jesely Brett. So that's crazy. I never would have expected that. It doesn't surprise me that she in some way came back, but we haven't really thought about her that much since the beginning of this game, so... I don't remember if I said it in a video, if I just thought it on my own time, but I kind of forgot about her, but is Susato's friend ever going to come back into this game? The one from the very first trial that we were defending? She was cool, and she seemed like, they introduced her, and we haven't seen her since, so I wonder if she'll have some part to play later on. And if this is a group, by group do you just mean 2 people, or do you think that there are even more people involved? And that those are just 2 of the group, Oh, there's so many questions, but this is getting so good. I can't wait to continue the investigation, and eventually we'll move on to the trial. So, we'll see how long it takes to get there. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and the notification bell so you know when more videos go up. Subscribe to the channel, of course, and share the video with your friends, family, and loved ones. And that's all I got for you. I really appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time. So take care, and bye-bye.